Hey there everyone, I'm Lauren Lapka. Welcome to my nameless show. This is for those of you who forgot to put on deodorant today, so you had to use your break to go buy some instead of read that one story. For those of you who missed your show because you got delayed in the elevator coming home because of that one moron that never seems to know what floor they're going to. A show to catch you up on what happened this week in sports. NFL free agency opened up on Tuesday. Some of the signings and trades were so insane that it left millions of Madden players bitter. Among the most notable signings were DeMarco Murray, Jimmy Graham, and Ndamukong Suh. The Eagles picked up DeMarco Murray on a 5-year, $42 million deal with $21 million guaranteed. The Cowboys didn't offer him a competitive contract despite leading the league in rushing and leading my fantasy team in awesome. The Saints sent star tight end Jimmy Graham and a 4th-round draft pick to the Seahawks in return for center Max Unger and the 31st pick overall in the 2015 draft. Defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh picked up a contract bigger than he is. The Dolphins signed him to a 6-year, $114 million deal with $60 million guaranteed. That's possibly $373,778.49 worth per pound. As for some other moves, quarterback Mark Sanchez agreed to stay in Philadelphia for 2 more years. Wide receiver Brian Hartline agreed to a 2-year deal with the Browns. The Ravens trade defensive tackle Haloti Ngata to the Lions for a 4th and 5th round pick. The Texans signed quarterback Brian Hoyer to a 2-year, $10 million deal and re-signed quarterback Ryan Mallett to a 2-year, $7 million deal. The Colts signed receiver Andre Johnson to a contract for $21 million and Frank Gore for one for $12 million. Raiders signed running back Roy Haley to join Latavius Murray. The Jets sent the Texans a late-round pick in exchange for quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Eagles surprisingly gave the Rams Nick Foles and a draft pick for Sam Bradford. Either way, okay, this is just ridiculous. If you really want to look at, some more, just pause this or something. As for our Chicago Bears, they sent Brandon Marshall to the Jets for a 5th and 7th round draft pick, which clears up some cap space. If he were to stay, they would have had to pay him $7.5 million. They picked up wide receiver Eddie Royal to a 3-year deal, linebacker Pernell McPhee to a 5-year deal worth roughly $40 million, and safety Antrell Rolle to a 3-year deal worth $11.25 million. Meanwhile, Raiders center Stefan Wisniewski is said to be on the radar despite re-signing Roberto Garza to a 1-year extension just before the end of last season. But Chiefs center Rodney Hudson signed a 5-year deal worth $44.5 million with the Raiders, which makes Wisniewski considerably the best center available. It was also reported that free agent safety Ron Parker would be visiting the Bears, and in perfect NFL fashion, the league is looking into early free agency. They will try to determine if teams were entering into agreements before they were allowed to, and so far the responses have been, what? No. Johnny Manziel is still in rehab after 28 days. The quarterback admitted himself to the alcohol and substance abuse program in late January. Browns coach Mike Pettin says there's no set day of his release, but rumor has it he's completely stopped doing the money sign. However, he still drinks like a fish. Former Bears safety Chris Conte has reunited with coach Lovie Smith, signing a 1-year deal with the Bucs. But I heard he injured his shoulder putting his luggage into the overhead bin on his flight, so he'll be out an undetermined amount of time. Recently traded Brandon Marshall was challenged by Jets receiver Salim Hakeem for number 15, which leads us to my segment, Why is this news? Now, this whole challenging each other for numbers thing was pretty clever at first, but come on, it's getting old. So apparently Hakeem sent Marshall a video message on Instagram saying if he wants to wear number 15, he'll have to race him for it. And cue the unnecessary likes and shares. Ooh, we're gonna see a race between 2 receivers. Ooh, everyone needs to know. No, silly football fans, they don't. And guess what? He later took down the message. The video you were reporting doesn't even exist anymore, which makes me ask even more, why is this news? Donald Sterling adds wife and doctors to lawsuit. Why is this still news? I have officially lost count of how many lawsuits this old bastard has tried to file, and all the people he's tried to file them against for that matter. But for some reason, him adding his wife and doctors to the federal lawsuit against the NBA over the for sale of the Clippers will not escape the headlines. We already know this guy is cuckoo bananas. but it seems to be imperative that we know that he believes everyone he's suing was a part of a wide-ranging conspiracy to remove him as the team's owner. Yeah, well, I'm starting to think that the way things are going, there's a conspiracy to make sure Sterling every so often pops up in the news. Next month, it will be reported that good old Donald took a poop. And I'll still be asking, why is this still news? Kobe Bryant returned to the Lakers bench this week, not necessarily on his own accord, but at the request of coach Byron Scott. It was the first time since he had season-ending shoulder surgery back in January. Scott said, "I wanted him around. I liked seeing him." Teammates seemed to think differently. Apparently he refused to pass the Gatorade, but why start now? Bryant also said earlier this week that he does not plan to return to the Lakers after next season. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred says he could see a future where teams visit Cuba regularly to play exhibition games. The league has been having conversations with the government about reviving baseball relations with Cuba ever since President Obama ordered the restoration of diplomatic ties with them back in December. Will Ferrell took over spring training on Thursday by playing all 9 positions in 5 games, and it was all an effort to raise cancer awareness. The whole thing will be shown in an HBO special produced by his comedy website, Funny or Die. Meanwhile, Cubs fans nearly wet their pants Tuesday when Jorge Soler, Javier Baez, and Chris Bryant hit back-to-back homers against the Indians. It was Bryant's second home run this spring. As for Baez and Soler, it was their first. Pitcher Wellington Castillo hit a homer in that game as well, except he showboated by standing at the plate to watch. Manager Joe Maddon didn't see the act, but said if it did happen, then he and Castillo need to talk. He has a Respect 90 theme this spring, aka running hard on the 90 feet to first, and watching a run is the exact opposite. Maddon said, "I would just prefer our guys act like they've done this before and that they're going to do it again." And that will bring us to our injury zone. Phillies left-hander Cliff Lee has soreness in his elbow, and if he needs surgery, he'll be out 6 to 8 months. And seeing as that's potentially the whole season, he says it's possible that that would be the end of his career. Indians pitcher Gavin Floyd may need elbow surgery again. Toronto's Marcus Stroman is out for the season with a torn knee ligament. 49ers linebacker Patrick Willis is retiring after an injury-shortened season. Northwestern star tailback Justin Jackson could miss spring practice with a lower body injury. Derrick Rose says there's a good chance he'll return this season. He's unsure of when he tore his meniscus, but the damaged area was removed on February 27th. General manager Gar Forman predicted him to return in 4 to 6 weeks, but he's not jumping just yet, is taking shots in practice though. It doesn't help that the Bulls are also without Jimmy Butler and Taj Gibson. Butler still has another 2 to 5 weeks with an elbow sprain, and Gibson is day-to-day with an ankle. NASCAR reinstated Kurt Busch and granted him a waiver for Chase after missing the first 3 races of the season. He was suspended for an alleged domestic assault on his ex-girlfriend. A Delaware attorney general declined to charge him for the incident back in September, but he is under indefinite probation. John Daly is criticizing the PGA, saying that its drug tests are not random. He made the comment Tuesday night on a SiriusXM radio show, adding that this will be his 5th or 6th year in a row he'll be tested at the Valspar Championship. I have no idea why they think that, John. Whoa. And now, for the latest in the Aaron Hernandez murder trial. Jurors are shown a video with Hernandez holding a large black object 3 hours before the slaying of Odin Lloyd. The district attorney's office suggests that it's a gun. Witnesses say he did have a gun in his waistband 2 days before the murder. But what do jurors see? A large blur. But Glock District Manager Kyle Aspinwall believes that it's the exact make and model of the gun used in the murder. Aspinwall was then cross-examined and asked, "Do you have specialized training in identifying weapons from grainy videos? Do you have supernatural powers of vision?" Until next time, I'm Lauren Lapka. And for all the stories that don't need 8 pages to tell, here are your self-explanatory headlines. 49ers fullback Bruce Miller arrested Thursday on suspicion of spousal battery. AEG abandons plans for downtown Los Angeles, cuts off talks with NFL after investing 5 years and $50 million. Miami's Hassan Whiteside suspended 1 game by NBA for an on-court altercation Monday night. Duke's Jahlil Okafor picked as ACC Player and Rookie of the Year. Kentucky sits at number 1 for the 6th straight week, nearing a historical mark in the AP poll. Penn State and Minnesota advance in the Big Ten tournament. Penn State pushes past Iowa in Big Ten tournament after a 67-50 win. DePaul loses 78-63 to Creighton in first round of the Big East tournament. Number 2 Notre Dame women repeat as ACC tournament champions. DePaul women win to advance to Big East championship. And reports say international cycling bent the rules, allowing Lance Armstrong to cheat one time after the other. To kick off your weekend, I'll share with you some stories you most likely don't know, but will like knowing. 3 teenage Georgia boys are facing charges for allegedly stealing a goat so that one of the boys could use Chip, the goat, to ask a girl to prom. 17-year-old Jacob Michaels told police he was going to ask her, "Would you goat with me to prom?" When the girl found out, she literally couldn't even, so she needed her own goat to reply.
How about that?
Move aside, LeBron. Akron's obsessed with a new man, a serial pooper. Police are desperately searching for a man who has pooped on at least 19 car hoods and handles. One man managed to capture a photo of the man. He set up a camera after his daughter's car was fertilized 6 times. Police say 19 reports have been filed, but even the most recent victim says it's happened to them 7 or 8 times. Please, if any viewers from Akron know who this man is, call the police. Viewers in Akron. I cracked myself up. Florida woman Shakara Martin was arrested for staring people while naked at Dunkin' Donuts. She walked up to the storefront in West Palm Beach on Sunday and sat down at a table outside and began talking to the man sitting there. I can tell you, it's a good thing 17-year-old Jacob Michaels and Chip were in custody to react. Here's to the weekend. Whether you're watching the Hawks, the Bulls, or some spring training, I'm recommending you a Mama Little Yellow Pils. It's the perfect beer if you like a Pilsner, but you kind of need a break from those big name brands. And instead of being diluted with rice and corn, it's made with 100% pale malt. Cheers, guys. See you next week.